Hello, my name is Abu Hassan Koroma, the founder of the 21st Century African Youth Movement. So today I'm with Arianna Giovini from Italy. We are talking about her relationship with the 21st Century African Youth Movement, which came about through the United Nations online volunteering services. And we are talking about empowering African youth through web design. What inspired you to volunteer for AYM, and how does this fit into your personal mission?
Before getting into, to actually turn web design, web development, my profession, I have a background in Japanese studies, Asian studies. So I basically have a background in humanities, cultural studies, and I've always been very passionate about, sociology, anthropology. Aside of me, always really enjoyed being on the field and being in contact with people. One of my passions was teaching. It's something that I haven't done in a long time. And then, life happens, and eventually what used to be a hobby is now my job. I got to a point where I was, developing and doing websites where you're doing it for other companies. It's not really your project, something that necessarily gives you meaning, and it was feeling a little bit empty at a certain point. And I always wanted to volunteer. I do it once in a while, but I only did it for teaching. So I thought, for once, since this skill that I'm using is making me feel so like I'm not really giving, I'm not really doing something meaningful, why not using it for someone who has a bigger purpose?
You mentioned that volunteering brings joy and purpose to your life.
Yes.
Can you tell us how this particular project with the AYM, has fulfilled those feelings?
First, it brought me back to work with people, work with people that come from different countries, different backgrounds, exchanging ideas, but also gave me a chance to see a different style of leadership, a leadership that is driven by helping people, that purpose of helping others to do something. It's very inspiring to me. First of all, it makes you feel grateful for what you have, but also reminds you that there's always room to move forward. Even the smallest contribution counts. In the very beginning of volunteering with AYM, is that I think I made a little, to me, it was a stupid donation just to test the donation form. And you mentioned to me that every contribution counts, the smallest contribution, and that really helped me reframe my own perspective about this. How really even the smallest thing counts. It made me value what I did or what I'm doing and what we are doing together as a team.
Every big thing starts small. Every little thing counts. Every little amount counts, especially in this particular kind of industry where the goodwill of people matters a lot. How did your interest in web design start, and what motivated you to turn it into a professional career?
I think I was 14, 15, maybe even earlier actually. I had this uncle, he's not with us anymore, unfortunately. I was really, really close to him. And one night he decided to teach me the really basics, make a web page. And back then it was really different, the system, much less complicated on a certain level. It's very easy. So yeah, that night was just, I'll show you how to do it. And look, you'll make your own first web page. But I was at school, so I wasn't even thinking about this as something I could do in the future, because I was in high school then. I wasn't thinking of doing web design. But then I just started playing around a little bit. My dad is a graphic designer. He's never done coding or web design, but then some clients started to ask for web pages. So we're still talking about when I was 18, something like that. And he was like, why don't you give it a try? So I started like that. And then, you start with simple pages, then it gets more complicated. You have the more complicated regress, and slowly I sort of build the knowledge that I needed. But then I stopped because I went to university. I started working in market research. I did things that were completely different. And when I came back last time from my job, because I was working in Japan, I came back and I needed a little break. This opportunity out of nowhere came out to make this website, this e-shop. It was my first e-commerce back then when I did it. And I was like, this is too big. I was with this, I don't know if I have the skills to do this. But I pushed myself a little bit. I am also very grateful. I had someone in the team that really pushed me as well to believe in my, in my skills and to really don't give up to it. You got this. Things started working, and then one website became two, and then three, and then Italy, France, and now I'm here. And after 2 years, I feel very confident, at least with the things that I've been doing right now.
You have worked on multiple websites, including e-commerce platforms, right?
Yes.
So what are the key lessons you've learned from those experiences?
It's very interesting because especially when developing a web, for example, an e-commerce, there's a lot of project management to do, a lot of planning, a lot of project management, because in the end you're doing timeline, you're doing budgets, you're doing a little bit of that too in the beginning. It was the first time I think that I really plan and manage something completely by myself. The past in other companies, I always had some kind of supervision, or it's been an incredible chance to do this. And something I learned that I overlooked in the beginning is that what I didn't really take into account was the people that were gonna use the web, that they were gonna shift from the previous website to the new platform. I did I made the platform exactly as I was, asked it to do and deliver. But I didn't take into account that at the end of the transition, some people were gonna work on a new platform. I had to learn the new platform. Some things would have been different anyway. I had to sort of help them get used to this new system that we just bring to them. So that was something I overlooked. It was definitely a lesson to learn. On a social level, I think it really taught me how to deal with different types of people, different multicultural teams. It was something I was already used to, but there's always something new. It really taught me how to deal as a professional, as an individual, so by myself, not backed up. It really taught me how to deal with people in a professional environment.
Of all the projects that you have worked on, which project are you particularly proud of, and what made it stand out for you?
Definitely, okay, the first e-commerce was the one I did 2 years ago that made me shift my job. Was something that kind of shocked me as well, knowing that I was able to do that, to really think about all those things ahead, because I didn't have the experience to really put everything together, but I was so worried that I really had to think about everything. To be honest, I know it's a little bit cliche, but in the AYM, it's one of the projects I'm most proud of. Obviously, there was a deep meaning in connecting with you, connecting with the team, Luisa, and what we're trying to get started. Obviously, that's the first thing. It made me realize that, oh, I can use this skill. Look, I can do this faster than I used to. I'm doing it by myself, and I'm not doing it with that pressure. I'm doing it because I want to, and I can do it for these people. I can actually make a difference. So I think it was nice to work on it.
So your work on the AYM website has actually been transformational. What were your first impressions of the AYM mission, and how did they influence your approach to designing the website?
You have a really clear mission, to create employment opportunities for youth. I feel like it's something we can all relate, transitioning from university into work. That phase is also really challenging right now. Really nice that you had such a concrete goal with the organization to build those opportunities. And you have so many ways you want to do this. So it's really admirable. In a certain way, this aligns with the way I approached the website in the beginning. When I first saw it, I noticed there were some technical issues. The first thing I told you is, before we move to the design and the new pages, let's fix the technical stuff that we need to solve immediately, especially the mobile versions. I think we did that first. After that, we moved to the design to really we started really working on the pages. I think we still have work to do, but we're almost there. We're trying to get the content from the old website, African Art Bio, back into the platform. When we're ready, we're gonna move with that. So we're gonna be building landing pages, and that's sort of the from technical cleaning up and design and getting ready to launch with the ads.
You have really implemented changes like reorganizing the Take Action page, adding the dedicated project pages, and building the AYM store, ensuring that the donation page is enhanced. How did you decide on these updates?
You really want to have a strong system, in terms of, for example, having a backup system in place. So if anything happens to the website, you can always restore a previous version. Having security, we want to make sure that those really basic system level things are there and they're working correctly. I personally always prioritize mobile version because it's most widely used device to navigate a website. So my first thought was, okay, let's fix the system, let's make it stable, let's clean up everything because we have some plugins that we don't use. This could be vulnerabilities to the website, etc. I mean, you had some pages that you wanted to prioritize. We had to work on the homepage first. And then after the homepage that we cleaned up a little bit, we had a reference for it. We started building new content. And at that point, it was just really your leadership guiding us on what's more important for AYM in terms of content. For example, when we cleaned up and restructured the blog, that gave us a chance to start posting a lot of content. It was really like understanding your priorities, like events, shop, all these things that you really wanted to do, and see what could be done first.
I like the way you approach the representations of violence, the art about the Sierra Leone page with the vivid images and the artist biographies that we're going to put there. How do these support the AYM goals?
First of all, the ability to host events, register to events, it's definitely another opportunity for people to engage and also contribute through donations, but also like to share the cause and contribute in that sense. So that's a great feature to have on the website. The project pages, and we have great content because you did great things in the past, are really important because they show what AYM was able to do in the past. So the potential what we can do also in the future. You create a space for people to express themselves. And in this sense, I think representation of violence, that page, obviously we still need to work on it. We can make it better. But I think it's really important to show those artworks can be visually catchy also for a person that is just navigating through the website, really to really catch their attention to see these expressions of these artists. And it's really nice to see all the people that participated. They left their motivation, their vision on why they participated. I think it's nice to be able to read that too.
What challenges did you face or are you facing during this project? What's the kind of strategies to overcome challenges as the project moves along?
It's just, I wish I had more time to do more, because especially when you complete something, you get more excited about it, you want to do more and you want to do it immediately, but also understanding that it's a process. So it's okay, to do step by step. As long as we don't stop, while we do that step by step, we go forward.
You have volunteered for UN projects and worked internationally. So how has this shaped your worldview?
There's definitely a shaping because it changes a little bit how you approach life. It really enriched my life. With UN specifically, this is my first project. I've done volunteering before, but it was directly with organization. And for example, I did one with a Japanese organization that supports orphan children. And in that case, I was doing some English conversation, with some teaching. So it was really interesting. Even after volunteering, I was able to meet with the people that I got connected with. Even people that cannot really communicate well, somehow you find a way to bridge that gap. We were always able somehow to understand each other. There was always some love and respect, and we were both willing to make it work and to share our cultures, and this was great. And I think the same is happening here, but also with another level, I would say, with AYM, because with AYM, I'm getting exposed to realities that we hear about. Often we don't really actually get to learn about. And I still think there's a lot I need to learn about the situation, Sierra Leone and everything, and the history and everything. But having this chance to talk to you and you explaining us, what happened through these years, to the history of the organization, but obviously to the history of Sierra Leone, doesn't just make you curious to learn more. It really makes you aware of what's going on outside of your apartment.
AYM focuses on empowering youth in Africa, right? How do you think technology, especially web design, can support this mission?
Web design can be important because it can give people a way to express themselves online, to showcase something online, to present something online. You don't have to be, I think, a crazy a god of web design to share your content, to give life to your content and share with other people. I think it's something that can be easily learned, and it can be really powerful. But also in general, I think technology right now, like having access to the internet, and now we have such powerful tools with AI. These are really important tools, and web design, for sure, it helps.
What has this particular experience volunteering for the AYM taught you about yourself and your role in making a difference?
It was one of the first times that I was really using my skills that I used to work in such a meaningful way and to communicate with people that I've never known before. So it really taught me about teamwork for sure. Also, like it taught me how to really manage my time in a more meaningful way also for myself. What I'm really grateful of was your leadership. It's something I always tell you. I know you're probably tired of this. Just like AYM, face such challenging times in this journey through creating opportunities for youth in Africa. You went through incredible challenges, but during those challenges, you had the strength, the vision, the will to like stand up and really say, we can do this. Let's bring this back. Let's bring everyone together. We can build something from this. I think this was the most inspiring lesson for me, to always remind us that doesn't matter what you're going through, there's always something you can do, a place you can start from. There's always a seed, as you always tell us. I was feeling a little bit stuck with my life, learning about your stories, seeing what you're doing, how you manage everything, and you bring all these ideas together with us was incredibly inspiring for me. It taught me that I can do it, that I enjoy working with in a team as a professional, doing something that I'm not paid for, but it's I believe in. It made me want to pursue in the future positions that align more with my values.
Where do you see yourself in the future, and how do you plan to continue supporting meaningful causes like AYM?
Obviously, I hope I'll keep doing what I do, but to be honest, I would like to move more towards more of a research role. I really like researching. Something I've done before through market research, through academic research is something I really like. For web design, if it gives me a chance to teach to others, pass this knowledge, these skills to other people that are willing to learn, that are excited to learn. There's so much I want to do. I would like to research, I would like to teach. At the end of the day, I really want to be in touch with people and have that kind of relationship, on a human level.
Let's say we have young people in the AYM office that want to learn how to design website, and you are on the other side of the Atlantic, right?
Yes.
Would that be an opportunity for you to put your teaching, your love for teaching people, to teach them online until they can learn the skills like you have learned?
Absolutely. It would be nice to.
After we finish the website here, we are launching our campaign. There's going to be a detailed aspect of market research.
Oh, okay.
It will give you an opportunity to find a niche into that. And maybe as we move on, your role can be more and more defined.
I would absolutely love that.
So Ariana, I say thank you for your incredible work.
Thank you.
And also for sharing your story with us. You see, you've inspired me in many ways. And I know that this conversation is also going to inspire a lot of people that will watch it.
Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna do it, if it was the right thing to do. I'm so happy I did, and that you taught me how these little contributions really help. And here we are. So thank you so much for your leadership.
Be sure to visit the AYM website to see Ariana's amazing contribution and support our mission to empower African youth. Don't forget to like, to comment, and subscribe to the AYM YouTube channel for more stories like this. Together, we all can make a difference. Thank you very much.